Welcome back to Good Morning LaLa on Wealth Wednesday. Our intuition may be our greatest wealth of all, right? Lisa Thomas is in the house. She is an intuitive life coach, an energy healer, and helps people basically break through their struggles, right?
That's right. Their limiting beliefs, their inherited patterns.
And so much of that is what's keeping us from the abundance that we really know is destined for us, right? I'm guilty of that. I'm trying to work through these blocks, but it's so incredible that you have the power to be able to help people with that.
Well, what we don't understand is that we have the power within us. It's our soul that does the healing. I'm just a facilitator.
Oh,
Right?
love that. Every true healer knows that.
It's right.
That's almost a litmus test for.
But the problem is we don't know how to do that. So it's not that we can't, we just don't know how. And so my specialty is releasing these money blocks, all right? But it's coming through the inherited pattern. So we inherit many good things, our gifts and our talents from our ancestors, right? But we also inherit trauma and phobias and false beliefs and money blocks and success blocks. And so for a scientific way of saying it, we have our DNA code, each one of us. That's what makes our eyes green, our eyes blue, 5 feet, 6 feet tall. But we also have within there our epigenetics. And that is how our DNA expresses itself based on the life experiences of our ancestors.
That's such a buzzword right now, epigenetics.
Yeah.
Could you define that for us?
It's exactly that. It's how our ancestors experience their life. And then this gets passed down in our cell memory. So you can have a fear of spiders, hypothetically, and never really encountered a spider. You might have a great-great-great-grandfather that got bitten and was hospitalized, all right, or put under, or, really sick. And that will express itself in you.
No question about it.
You can change that expression.
Right, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's your work.
They're called informational tags, and they can be released.
So interesting. So tell us how you do that, because we've had lots of coaches, lots of people, and we realize that it's all coming down to those limiting beliefs. I work with that. We all work with that.
Right.
So what modality do you use?
Well, how about like 20 of them morphed into a gift of being able to hear and understand ancestors, all right? So I was born clairvoyant, but that was a burden. That's a burden when you're a child. We know more now about crystal children and things like that. But when I was a little girl, I didn't know anything about that. But what I do is I access the body through kinesiology. So a client will come to me, for example, I was working with a client and she was making ends meet, but she made a lot of money. And so she's like, why do I just make ends meet every month? Well, there ended up being an inherited pattern of indecisiveness that went back just 3 generations. And right, and because it was such a small time frame, she actually knew what happened. And it was her great-great-grandfather during the Depression, all right? Well, he gambled away his large manufacturing plant and lost everything. So how this was being expressed in her life was through indecisiveness, but everything was a gamble. All these little decisions she couldn't make. It was like causing anxiety and worry. But once it was released, she went from making $250,000 to over $500,000.
I am so glad that you're talking. This is truth bombs, like all day long. This is the real deal. Because when I work with clients, you go into those past lives, and whether you want to believe in past lives doesn't matter. You have a DNA that has all the past lives.
Right.
And when you start to track this, it adds up, and people just have these profound breakthroughs. I'm so glad that you're putting this into language that's so people can understand this and scientifically based. So important. This is incredible.
Thank you.
So tell us about your personal journey. So you're born like this?
Yeah, I was. Okay. And so for most of my life, I really went in and out of depression, especially after I had children. And I've been successful in my careers, different careers over the years, but it was an ongoing battle. And then let me see if I can make it just a short story, okay? One particular modality that I was learning, because it was a hobby. I never really worked on clients. I had a belief that if I could not be spiritual and prosperous. So if I were to do anything, right, then all my gifts would be taken away from me. So I didn't do anything. They were burden energy for me. Until this one particular modality, I had to work on people. Oh yeah,
that changes everything. It changes everything.
Right? But that was the biggest aha. I remember the first time a client left, I was in tears, just flowing tears, like, I cannot believe this is why I am who I am. I found it. I'm in my purpose. What comes easiest is what I'm going to be best at. So, for example, I'm booked until the mid-April. Why do I say that? I'm not bragging, I promise. It's because I'm in alignment with who I am. I'm in my purpose. And what comes easiest is what will make us our money.
And
Right?
Oh,
And
gosh,
and
totally.
So, you know, this is interesting you say that because I found that as I work more and more with clients, it's almost like, first of all, it's doing our spiritual work where we're in client work,
Right.
and we're up leveling ourselves. It's almost like
Yes.
we're almost like doing our amends at some level. Do you not feel that?
I
and
love
experience
that. Yeah, absolutely. Do you feel that you become stronger?
Every single time. It's
Every
like,
single
it's like,
time.
There's
Me
this
too.
multiplied abundance
Yeah.
up through
Right.
the whole process. It's incredible.
It is. Yeah.
So profound.
So it's really the subconscious, everybody. It knows everything about us. Your subconscious is your master controller.
Yeah, this is my new best friend.
I think we're going to be together.
I've noticed already.
Right?
Absolutely.
And,
I like you.
and your body will tell me, you, what needs to be released because they're just energy blocks. In fact, I have a great analogy. Think of the character in Charlie Brown named Pigpen, right? Okay, he has the dust cloud on all over him. I think of those as traumas trapped in the body, and I'm just going to go in and pull those out so that you can see out ahead of you more clearly, and so that other people can really see you for who you are. Because how often do you feel misunderstood? Because they aren't really seeing you for who you are.
Wow. Profound.
Yeah.
So when someone comes to work with you, what does
Yes.
that kind of look like?
It's a good question. They sit with me right next to me on my sofa, all right? And I come down the governing meridian. So because people like us, right, all of us really, I'm a real empath. So I don't watch the news because I don't want to feel it. I don't want to take it in. I don't want to worry about it. So what I do is I use magnets to come down the governing meridian is the back. So lean forward. I'm going to come right down the back here, all right, with a set of magnets because I can feel where things are trapped in the body. I don't want to take it in. So it's for me. I'm just releasing, coming down like this, and then I don't have to worry about taking it in.
That
make sense?
Do you know that that's how the entire mental healing movement started? Do you know that? Yeah,
Through
it was
through magnets?
Through magnets.
Wow.
It was a long time ago over in Europe, and I forgot.
Mesmer.
Mesmer. That's
right.
correct. That's exactly what. And he was using magnets, and he was having all these profound breakthroughs for people. But then one day, he forgot the magnets.
Yeah.
And he just did the same practices, and he realized
Worked.
It worked.
it was all worked.
It works anyway. So I use them so I don't have to worry about taking it in. That's, and it does, but I work with a lot of people in other countries. So the majority of my clients right now are not in California. And so I do that over the phone.
Interesting.
So of course everybody's going to want to work with you. Question they already apparently are. And but for those folks who maybe want to work with you, but they want to get a little start before they can get on
Right.
your waiting list.
Yeah.
What would they do? What would you recommend they do to begin just starting to sort of tap into their own intuition and release some of these blockages they might be experiencing?
That's a really good question. So think of an emotion that triggers you, right? You have one?
Sure.
Okay. And then your first thought, use your intuition here. I'm big on intuition, okay? Did you get it from your mother or your father? What is it?
That's a really tough one. They're both watching.
Okay. But see, there's no
lineage.
You have to,
But the
you have to
lineage.
release
Yeah, yeah.
the
The
judgment
lineage,
shit.
yeah.
It's
The
the
lineage.
lineage. It's not
Yes.
literally,
Not
there's
right.
no
Right.
blame in this.
Right.
We wouldn't pass anything down to our children on purpose.
Right.
They didn't pass it down to us on purpose. And I call it a tender mercy to be able to release what isn't ours so that we can be who we came to earth to be.
Yeah, I love that.
Amen.
Right?
Wow.
So do you do workshops only? Do you just work one-on-one?
I do workshops. I have healing meditations. These are a little bit different than just in Zen mode. I'm literally tapping in. I create a visual because the subconscious has to get on board with your transformation or it's going to work against you because it's trying to protect you. And they're on different topics, but then I go into a releasing genre here. And your subconscious by that point in the meditation will start to release the emotions that I've honed in on.
Oh, fantastic.
I love
Yeah.
it. Such great work.
Thank you.
So how can they find you? How can they follow you? Do you have any books?
I have a brand new book coming out in March. It's called Mistakes into Money. Right?
Love the
I'll
alliteration.
like the first signed copy, please.
All right. Yeah.
We'll definitely have
because
you
we
back,
all
for sure.
we all get trapped in our mistakes, thinking we can't do or go to the next level. And I just don't believe that.
Oh, fantastic.
So
Where can
there's
people find you
tips and
online?
tools. Lisa Thomas, Energy Healer.
Energy Healer. So give a look out for the book.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mistakes
Thank you,
into
Lisa.
money.
We'll have to
Thank
go
you
back
for
to that.
having
So
me
appreciate
on.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
I appreciate it so much.